So since you clicked on this video about Hellfire, you're probably wondering, are people burning in hell? The answer is yes. But people are burning in heaven also. There are two kinds of fire in the afterlife, but neither of them are like fire as we think of it. They don't behave like physical fire. The fire in the afterlife is spiritual, so it, like everything else that's spiritual, relates to consciousness. There are two different ways that our consciousness can be on fire. There's the road rage kind of, whoa, you drove over there, I don't want you to drive over there. You can burn with that, or there's the burning of a mother who's like, I'm gonna protect my kids and I'm gonna do anything I can to protect them. You can burn with desire for revenge. Who do you think you are? Don't you know who I am? I'll crush you, you did that. You can burn to give people an opportunity for a better life than you get. Like, I want you to be happy. Two different kinds of fire. Both can operate in our consciousness. We're going to look at the spiritual nature of both of those kinds of fire, and actually the entire way that heat works in the afterlife. Let's go. Love produces heat. Spiritually speaking, we're used to a life where there's heat. We are accustomed to having heat around. We depend on it. And not even talking about the difference between like, oh, is the heat not working in this room? It's cold. Like, yeah, we notice that, but even the coldest place on Earth is way warmer than absolute zero. Like we're dependent on living amongst heat, and that heat is coming from the sun. A lot of it's coming from the sun physically, and now we can augment that with the miracles of technology. Spiritually, where's the heat coming from? It comes from love. This is Heaven and Hell 133. In its essence, heaven's warmth is love. So when you are in heaven and you're like, hey, this is great, it's nice and warm here, you're saying, I'm feeling love is warming me up right now. Literally, the thing that moves the thermometer in the afterlife is love. It emanates from the Lord as the Son, which is divine love for the Lord and from the Lord. So that's this love. We can therefore see that heaven's warmth is just as spiritual as its light, because they come from the same source. And you probably think about, I see the light. This light is, yeah. Warmth in the spiritual world is just as divine. So you have God as the sun, like we talked about previously. There's divine light coming out of that, which allows the angels to see and think. There's also divine heat coming out that makes spiritual life possible. Last episode, we were talking a ton about the light. This episode, let's dig into the very force that keeps us alive, divine heat. Like with everything that comes out of God, you get to choose, we get to choose how much of it we want. We can choose how spiritually hot we are. This is the way it is kind of with the physical sun. The sun is just like, here you go. Here's all the light and all the heat. I'm just sitting here doing these explosions and it's all just going out. I'm not looking out and saying, Neptune, I'm going to give you less. Mercury, I'm going to give you more. It's just sending it all out to everyone. But the heat is received differently according to how close you are to it. Planets that are closer are hotter. When you're on a planet, are you facing toward the sun or are you facing away from it? AKA day or night. That changes how much heat you're getting. What angle the surface you're on is to the sun. This winter and summer is because the sun's not changing. It's about what we're doing. It's the same thing in the spiritual world. So the level of love that you have or spiritual warmth is according to your state of reception to it, your positioning in respect to the source of love, which is God. It's not because of a location, but because of a state of mind and heart. All movement in the spiritual world has to do with the spirit, aka the consciousness. So it's about what you feel, what you love, and what you believe. That is what dictates your either approach to God, if you love the same kinds of things that God loves and you believe the things that are true, or you get farther away as you wanted the opposite of those. This is from Emanuel 134. Heaven's warmth, like heaven's light, is different in different places. It has one nature in the heavenly kingdom and another in the spiritual kingdom. It also differs in each community, not only in intensity, but in quality. Kind of like microclimates. I mean, did you ever think that there could be different kinds of heat in heaven? Of course you didn't. Nobody thinks about this kind of stuff. It's like, in a lake you have a thermocline where there's a warm part of the lake and then a cold part of the lake. You could feel when you go across that. In all these different layers of heaven, there are different reception and so instances of divine love and divine wisdom. So angels that are up in the inmost heaven experience the divine heat differently than angels who are in, let's say, the middle heaven do, and on out through the levels. In Emanuel 134, Swedenborg says, heaven's warmth is more intense and pure in the Lord's heavenly kingdom because the angels there accept more divine good. I don't know if that's like, think about on earth, this heat is oppressive because it's so humid, but there's a certain kind of heat that's like, this feels great. I don't know, but there it's like, these are heat-loving people that soak that right in. It is less intense and pure in the Lord's spiritual kingdom because the angels there accept more divine truth. These are people who enjoy and love light a little more than they do heat. So there's less heat so that these people can have the greatest, happiest existence that they can have. In each community, it varies depending on people's receptivity. So even here, like there's maybe a brighter, warmer pocket here, brighter, warmer pocket there. Everything is suited to the people that are there. There is also warmth in the hells, but it is unclean. There's something fundamentally different. Everyone's got to have warmth to survive, but there's something fundamentally different about the kind of warmth you get in heaven and the kind of warmth you get in hell. So let's dig into that a little bit more now. Let's talk about Hellfire and Heavenfire. These are the two things that make us like we are. These are the two, you gotta fuel yourself. What are you gonna fuel yourself with? So we use heat metaphors in language. When we say like, and to express love. We say, that warms my heart. I feel warm towards that person. I feel warm towards Curtis. He's so great. We talk about a relationship. Things are heating up here. We talk about people becoming inflamed with feelings or desires being kindled. I kindled your desire to read Swedenborg, I hope. Burning, people burn with hunka burning love. Is that Elvis or something? You burn with hatred, you burn with revenge, you burn with envy, you boiling mad. Cartoons have steam coming out of their ears when they're, they want to smash someone, but they couldn't. Feelings are spiritual, but our spirit is connected to our body. So feelings like those we were just describing can actually manifest as heat in our bodies. I mean, you can, if you're embarrassed or you're angry or upset, you can actually, your face can get red and you can feel hot. You can feel like your cheeks are hot. You can feel warmth in your chest when you're affected by love. And if you love what you're doing, it can change the way you experience cold. Kids, when they're swimming and they're freezing and their lips are blue and they're like, but I'm not cold. And you're like, come in, you have to come in. I'm not cold, I'm having fun. In Heaven and Hell 134, Swedenborg explains why this happens. And you can tell your kid next time they won't come out of the freezing cold water. Listen, it's because of Heaven and Hell 134. The fact that love is warmth of a spiritual origin can be seen from the way we grow warm in proportion to our love, even becoming inflamed and heated in proportion to its intensity and quality, with its full heat evident when we are attacked. This is where we start getting into Hellfire versus Heavenfire. You can see the nature of it by what blazes up if it's opposed. In the spiritual world, heat and the kind of heat that someone experiences is a direct result of that person's nature and the state of mind that they're in. Heaven and Hell 134, the warmth in heaven is meant by sacred and heavenly fire. Remember, we were talking about those rings and the angels that live in them, and they experience these different warmth. That's heavenly fire, the warmth that they're in. And the warmth of hell by profane fire and hellfire. Both refer to love. Heavenly fire to love for the Lord and love for one's neighbor. That's the thing that burns in you and makes you want to do what you want to do. And hellfire to love for oneself and love of the world. And all the craving that is associated with these loves. When that is what's burning in you, you're feeling hellfire. That is so cool. When we were reading through this for this episode to see what Swedenborg's saying as part of Heaven and Hell, I was like, that is awesome, because hellfire is this weird topic. What people get tortured forever by like physical fire, that's terrible. But there is this mention of hellfire, so what's that all about? And then you have Swedenborg just walking you through, here's the logical progression of how physics and the afterlife works, and then it just leads right into, of course, there's heaven fire and there's hellfire. The fire is the warmth that keeps hell going. I mean, come on. Are you not entertained? So hellfire is the burning belief that I'm the only thing that's important. I'm the only thing that's important. And I can use you in any way I want. And it's like, Swedenborg likens it to burning embers or coals, that is limited and it's polluting, or think about like a wildfire that's destroying things. Hatred and hateful anger, that's hellfire in you. The desire for revenge, you're like, I'm going to get them back, that's hellfire. Envy is hellfire. Lust is hellfire. All kinds of cravings are hellfire. That is, and whatever. We've all experienced hellfire. Those things are the heat that drives hell. Heaven fire, it's not that it's not fire as well, but it's the opposite kind of fire. It, as opposed to like a little polluting, limited thing, heaven fire is like the warmth of the sun. This is like, here's life for everyone. I'm going to give like light and heat to everyone. It's the same impulse in heaven fire. Or it's like when you're using fire to cook, to give food to people, or you're sitting around a campfire and you're building community. Love and kindness, the feeling you get for someone when you're like, I really like them. That's heaven fire. I want to do this nice thing for you. Compassion, generosity, partnership, friendship, teamwork. Hey, let's work together to do this. Service, I want to make things better for people. Zeal, which is that blazing up of I'm going to protect this thing. That's heaven's fire. You are burning with heaven's fire. In heaven, that fire or that love from God is directly experienced not just as feelings, but as the warmth around you in the environment. Is Heaven and Hell 135. The reason the love that emanates from the Lord as the Son is experienced as warmth in heaven is that the deeper levels of angels are involved in a love that comes from the divine good, which in turn comes from the Lord. Consequently, their more outward levels, which are warmed by this, are in warmth. This is why warmth and love are mutually responsive to each other in heaven, so that everyone is in the kind of warmth that accords with her or his love. So you make your own weather in heaven, because deep down inside you, based on how you live your life and what you accept into you, you have this, yes, I'm interested in the kind of love that God has, which is the unconditional love for the human race. Letting that into you in the deepest parts of you then influences the outer parts of you, and in the spiritual world actually influences the environment around you. We have that some here. I mean, you can definitely be having a great day, regardless of how cold it is outside. But there's also physical factors that impinge. There's a dual influence going on for us. Swedenborg continues. It is different for us, though, since we are in the spiritual world as well as the natural world. As far as our spirits are concerned, we grow warm exactly according to our loves. But as far as our bodies are concerned, we respond to both the warmth of our spirits and the warmth of the world. The former flows into the latter because they correspond. So you can get energized to do something, warmed up by the spirit in one way, but then the room could be cold enough it's sucking the light out of you. So there's this fascinating interplay of the spiritual and the physical, which is the hallmark of human life. The last thing you got to know that we're going to tell you today is you got to have balance. In the spiritual world and in the physical world, there has to be a balance of light and heat in order for things to flourish and be where they need to be. Light needs warmth. In you got to have a balance of, what is that? I need you as a new recruit. And you got to have the balance of love and truth inside you. This is what we're striving toward as a human being. Not too much love, not too much truth, not too little love, not too little truth, but matching. You can see this, you can see the truth of that in the way that the physical world works. Actually, everything in the physical world, everything in the world you see around you is teaching you things about how the spiritual world works. That's the handy thing about the physical world. So looking at physical light and heat as an example is from Heaven and Hell 136. From the warmth of our world, united to its light, all things on earth come to life and blossom. They are united in spring and summer because it's bright and it's warm and the flowers and the bees and the trees. However, nothing comes to life or blooms from light separated from warmth. Everything languishes and dies. They are disunited in winter when the warmth is gone, but the light remains. So if light is truth, just having the truth doesn't do it. You can have the truth, you can have all the factoids, even about the existence of God and these sorts of things. But if there's not that love in it, it's dead. But it also goes the other way around. That you can have a place that's plenty warm but no light. There's not going to be anything that grows in there. What is that? Is it called mung beans? Or they grow these little sprouts, but they do it in the dark so that they try to reach out and find the light, and they get really long, and then they're crispy. And you know, the point is, they know, those little seeds know, I got to get to the light, or else this isn't going to work. Life flourishes when there is a balance of light and warmth. And the same thing is true in the spiritual world for spiritual light, which is the truth, and spiritual heat, which is love, which are both coming out of God, who is the spiritual Son. And they flow out in equal amounts, just like you go anywhere where you go stand in the sunlight, they're going to feel that heat. The more balanced the two are in each angel, the more happy and productive that angel's life is. So in all these different layers, some people are in the state of mind and heart, which Swedenborg calls the first or outermost heaven. Some are still in the state of the world of spirits. This is generally where our spirits are while we're still on earth. Some people are in the state that is called hell. Some people are in what Swedenborg calls this spiritual angels, don't use me for your stupid demonstration. In the second or middle heaven, and then you have people in the third or inmost heaven. All of these are states of mind. You've got more, you're closer to God here, you're getting more of that divine substance, but in each of these cases, the better balanced the amount of light and heat is, or love and truth is, the better your life is. The more you're in the divine design, the more happy and useful you are. They actually, you literally get the love that's in you from God in the form of that divine heat, and then the light, the ability to think in your mind from that divine truth. And too much love, you don't quite know what you're doing. Too much truth, not enough love, you're not really putting it to right use. It has to be balanced. This is from Heaven and Hell 136. The quintessential life of angels is from the warmth, but not from the light, except to the extent that there is warmth in it. Any spiritual factoids gotta be pointing towards love. We can see that life comes from the warmth because when the warmth is taken away, life dies. It's the same for faith without love, or for truth without goodness. Since the truth that is attributed to faith is light, and the goodness that is attributed to love is warmth. When ideas, even true ideas, don't have the warmth of love in them, they don't produce anything good. because they don't do what they're supposed to do, which is lead to love. All of the spiritual and religious ideas we can go out and gather are meant to partner with love and are meant to be a tool that the love that's in us can use to accomplish good things. That is why it's so important to not get out over your skis with too much love or too much truth. They need each other. In conclusion, there's two kinds of fire in the afterlife. There's heaven fire and there's hellfire. And you can be burning with either one at any point in your day. The hellfire is the heat that comes into you when you're motivated by rage and hatred and everything that's negative. Heaven fire is the desire to do what's good. Those both want to be our life. Basically, hell is coming up to you saying, here's some hellfire. Don't you like how that feels? Don't you want to have that be what you run your life on, the thing that explodes in your engines and drive your pistons and stuff? And heaven is saying, hey, look, here's heaven fire. Don't you want to run on that? It's like clean burning, really cool heaven fire. We get to choose which one it is we participate in, and know that your spirit is surrounded by heat. And it might be heavenly heat, might be hellish heat. That's the way the whole afterlife is warmed, based on how much they receive, either to receive the heat directly from God, which is the heaven fire, or twist it into this hellfire, which is keeping the vitality and even the pleasure in something, but turning it into its opposite. Like, that's what the hellfire is. It's the vitality that was supposed to be driving you to go and be good to people, instead drives you to go and be selfish and exploitative and domineering over other people. It's this perversion and inversion of the heat that God makes available to everyone. So, in my humble opinion, heaven fire is the way to go. Get your hookup switched to that, and you can get more and more used to that, learn how to let more and more in, so then the body dies, we're in the spiritual world. It's like, oh yeah, I'm used to this kind of heat. I'm used to this climate. I like it here. So good luck. I hope that you have a day full of heavenly burning desire to do what's good and think what's true.